Welcome to First and Goal, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Get ready for the latest and hottest topics in the SML. Let's get started. Here's your host, Mad Bomber.
All right, welcome to this week's episode of First and Goal Primer Edition. We're gonna try and start something new where maybe we get some primer guys in here and see what's going on in there and get an idea of the guys that are in the primer. So today's first episode, we've got Finns, we've got Whiskey, we've got the Straw Blacks, and we've got Ostrich. How are you guys doing tonight?
Man,
Good.
Happy to be here.
All right, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see how this goes. Every time we get new guys on here, it's kind of a wild card on what you're going to get. So we'll see. Some of you guys were talking about Raider fan. That was one that was kind of expected. But so what we'll do, since not really many of the guys that are going to be watching this maybe know you, we'll just go around, and if you guys want to introduce yourself, maybe a little something about yourself, and then we'll get started. So Finns, let's start with you.
Hey everyone, I'm Finns. Been playing Madden for a long time. I've been lucky to know a lot of the guys that are in SML Primer and SML. Mike, RD. Congrats RD on the Bull last season, by the way. For us that know you, not unexpected. Like I said, I've been playing Madden for a long time and really excited to be in Primer.
All right, Whiskey.
I'm old Whiskey. It's kind of that's kind of who I am. Played a lot of NCAA as a divorced single dad of 3 girls. That kind of took some time up and hadn't been able to play a lot. Jumped back into Madden. So as you can tell, I'm kind of a cellar dweller right now, but we're going to change that next season.
All right, Straw Blacks.
Hey, all right. My name is Eric. I've been playing Madden for a very long time. Started off with backyard football on the GameCube because my dad told me I had to get good before I could start playing him on EA Madden, and then he kicked my butt until I got good. So that's what introduced me into it. I am the Straw Blacks, and I'm the Bengals in Primer. So if you see Luffy or Zoro, you know we're coming for all you One Piece fans. But yeah, happy to be here and excited.
All right, and then finally Ostrich.
Hey guys, I'm Panthers from the Primer. I'm from South Carolina. I've been playing Madden for on the PS4. I started playing Madden leagues about like Madden 16, and I've been playing the NCAA and stuff like that for a while. Enjoyed my time in the Primer so far, and yeah, ready for it. I'm excited to be here. All
right, so with that, let's get started. Our first topic is going to be impressions and expectations. So what are your first impressions of Primer and your SML experience, and what do you look for in a Madden league? And Finns, we'll start with you.
You okay there, Ostrich?
I'm okay.
As I said before, I'm enjoying it so far, man. It's been a ton of fun. A little bit of an adjustment for me in other leagues on all Madden. So trying to get used to the all pro. I mean, there hasn't been much of a difference, but I'll use that as an excuse if I can. Mike's been trying to get me in here for a while. So I wish I kind of joined earlier. Would have been nice to get a squad a little bit earlier so I can kind of build it. As I said before, though, fortunately, I know a few of the guys in here. I've been playing with Mike and Grams and NYT and RD and Trick for a long time. So it's nice to play with them again. And, everyone that I played so far has been really cool. Had kind of a controversial incident against my last opponent. But he was really great about it. And it kind of ended in a poor way, but he was great about it. For me, what I look for in a Madden league, familiarity. People that I know, if it comes highly recommended, then I'm good. And then longevity. I don't want to invest my time in something that I know is going to be gone in a couple weeks. So if I know it's going to be around for a while, I'll be glad to join.
Definitely. All right, Whiskey, what about you?
Like I said in the intro, I played in a lot of NCAA leagues. Played in one that was all the teams in the game had a user, and it was super sim. And that's what I look for. Like I said, I miss playing the NCAA series, and I played Madden, too, but I didn't play it as much as NCAA. So I was looking for, a good sim league, and I jumped in late last season. I think 5 games into the season, 5 or 6 games into the season, and had a little bit of success, but this year has been terrible. I mean, I've got my tail whooped just about every game except maybe I think I scored 28 points against the former Bears user, but it's just been tough. But I enjoy my time. It sucks to lose. Nobody wants to lose, but I'd rather play in a league like this than to go on in a lobby somewhere and have somebody throw 4 verts the whole time. So I enjoy it. It's tough, but it's fun.
All right, the Straw Blacks. How about you?
Yeah. So I kind of just started doing Madden franchises probably like 2 years ago. I kind of stumbled into them, and ever since then, the only way I've really been doing Madden leagues is if I'm usually invited to one from someone who was in a previous league, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you should join this league. You should join this league." And the ones that I've found, the most interesting and the ones that have been very successful for me and make me want to stay in is usually, obviously, very, very well organized and ran. And the consistency of like the group and the chat, right? Like, and that's what I love so much about this league. In some leagues that I've been in, you advance to the next week and you're not sure if you're ever going to hear from the person that you're reaching out to, and you're like, all right, when are we going to schedule to play? Kind of what's going on. And in this league, everybody's so active, and it's been very, very fun because everybody's so invested in it, And I think even with like the Twitter and podcast components of it, and listen to everybody talk about it, and we're getting into it like it's real football, I think is very appealing to me, and I really enjoy it. I think I've been in like a ton of leagues with a ton of different rules and a ton of different things. I know I've gotten dinged for a couple of things that I got to get used to. I mean, I played in some leagues where I think somebody put up like 93 points against me, and then I went up and beat them in the playoffs. Like it was that. So just trying to get used to some of the different rules and all those things. Obviously, are all changes in each league, but this one I've enjoyed a lot in the 6 games that I've played, with interacting with everybody and the camaraderie in the league, and everybody's just trying to have fun and get better and find ways to develop their teams. So it's super dope.
All right, and Ostrich, last but not least.
Yeah. I think for me, like as far as looking for a Madden league, I look for good sim style rules, which is my preferred play style. I don't enjoy the MUT style gameplay, like a lot of the cheese routes, etc. Another thing is consistency. It's like, especially on advanced times. Like I've been in leagues in the past where, like, there'll be we're having a certain advance time and we're not advancing at that time. We're waiting longer than we should. We wait days past advance. Another good thing that we have in Primer is a good admin team, guys that do a good job enforcing our rules that we have to try and make the best sim experience for everybody. So those are the 3 things for me, I'd say.
All right. So that'll take us to topic 2. And topic 2 is going to be, as you guys are getting ready to go into the playoffs there in the Primer, what are some of the teams you don't want to see early on in the playoffs? And if you're not in the playoff picture, what team did you find the most difficult to play? And we'll start with Whiskey this time.
Yeah, best for last, right? I'm definitely not in the playoffs this year, but I will say that I think the 2 hardest teams that I've played so far is Cowboys and the Jets. And let's be honest with you, I think one of those 2 is going to win it.
All right. Finns, what about you?
I took over I think it was a 6-4 Falcon squad, and we went 3-1. Only lost to that Panthers guy right there in my first game. So I am fortunate to be in a playoff picture. One of the guys that I'm not looking forward to in the early rounds is Grams as the Niners. I played him a lot, and he's just that one guy that I just can't seem to beat. I'm familiar with kind of his play style. I know he likes to throw it a lot, and no matter what adjustments I make or what coverages I change, whatever, he just always finds that gap in my coverage. So he's the one guy I'm not looking forward to. And if I can cop out a little bit here, I'm going to say that Panthers guy is in the 1 seed, and his user he gave me fits. Had me guessing all game, and if I were to advance the first round and make the second round, I don't want to play him again.
All right, Ostrich.
I'd say for Matt, like the two biggest guys, like for the NFC especially, for Dookie, he's a new Cardinal. He was an SMO before. He won at Simbardi. He's got Kyler Murray now with that Cardinals team. He's gonna be tough to play. He's obviously he won a Primer Bowl early in the season. And another guy I'd say is probably Rowan. Rowan's one of my good buddies. We played Madden for a while now together. I feel like he knows kind of how he's got a good idea how to play me. He's got a really good running game with Miles Sanders and a good offensive line. And he's not really thrown as many picks this year with Carson Wentz because that's kind of been his problem lately, is just bad passing and bad reads. So those are two guys that really kind of scare me to play early.
You're the 1 seed and you're afraid to play Rowan?
Well, hey, Rowan's 9-5 in the primer.
That primer is weak lately.
I know he's been struggling a little bit in SML. I think he's turned it around a little bit though. It seems like I think he's 3-1 right now in SML, or.
I don't even know. If he's not winning, he's not in chat. So.
Oh, hey, that's true. That's true. Yeah. He's always talking. That's one thing you know.
Grams and Rowan, the two scared teams in primer. That's different. How about you, Straw Blacks?
Yeah, so I came in and took over the Bengals at 4-5. We've been preaching a 1-0 mentality over here, one game at a time. So I've only played 6 users so far, or 5 users. And we're over here sitting at 9-5, so we're happy to be in the playoff picture. I think the team that, obviously I haven't played everyone. I haven't seen what everyone can do. But the team I'd be most afraid of to see, obviously, in that first round is probably going to be the Browns, because we're probably going to play each other. And that's like back-to-back games, basically. We're about to play each other week 16, and then we come right back most likely in that wild card, playoff week. And it's hard to beat teams multiple times. So we're going to see what kind of happens with that matchup, but that probably won't be, a favorable one going into the playoffs. We're both going to kind of see each other and then be able to come right back and play again. So that's the one that I'm going to be looking to see what I can do.
Yeah, those back-to-backs are not fun. I'm just glad you didn't say Mike FML. I was about to lose it if he came up as the other one. But all right, so we're going to move on to topic 3. Topic 3. So you guys have the off season coming up, obviously, after the playoffs. What, in your opinion, is the best way to build a team, whether it's through the draft, free agency, however? And we'll start with you, Straw Blacks.
Yeah, so I would say, the best way to build a team, first off, where we're at in the league, I would say it might be a little too late for this aspect of it, but, really making sure that with like your coaching points and with kind of your players and your player performances based on your play style, that you're doing the proper training and spending your coach XP to make sure that you're developing the areas that you need. One thing that I learned quickly is developing some of those young players really, really can help, because then when you're going into free agency and in the draft, depending on the draft class that's there, you really are only going to get, maybe the first 3 rounds as players that you can really, really kind of start. So then from there, you kind of try to build in free agency around that. So, I think it starts off with obviously knowing your play style and figuring out what players you have to kind of groom and work in that play style, spending your coach XP to help kind of build and mold those players. And then I would say start off in free agency with kind of fill some of those holes based on, what you see in the draft. Hopefully everybody's been using their scouting points. See what's there, see what you can get. If there's a weak position and you can't fill that in the draft, you better go in free agency. If not, you're going to have a long season.
All right. Ostrich, what do you think?
Yeah, I think for this one, it kind of lies somewhere in the middle a little bit. Like, especially early in Madden, you probably want to try and get, accumulate as many draft picks as you can, because especially first and second rounders, because you have a chance to develop those guys into like, pretty good, especially this first and second rounders, into either some pretty good players for you, or at least some serviceable role players. But like when you get into like, you know, the year 5, 6, and 7, you know, you're not going to value those picks quite as much because you're not going to be able to develop them quite as much. Um, and like another thing I think that matters is whenever you're targeting stuff in free agency, obviously like building by the draft, or if you're building in free agency, depending on depending on what the draft has, you know, if it has like if it's a really good running back class, you might not take you won't be as willing to take or you can still take a running back, but you might be like, I have bigger needs I need to fill, so I'm gonna take something else in the draft. So it kind of depends on what you like, what you see, and what you like in the draft in terms of that. And then I'd say lastly that like free agency, I think it's kind of smart to try your best over the first 3 seasons to make sure that your cap room is to where you're able to make a play and sign some key vets when you know you're going to need them. Like that's such an underrated part of Madden. Yeah. It's just knowing whenever you're going to sign the veteran players that are going to be able to elevate you to, you know, to hopefully win a Super Bowl. Like I feel like this past season, well, that was kind of something I was able to do. Well, I didn't do it, but I went out and traded for J.J. Watt. And the main part of that is because, I mean, this isn't like the NFL. We're not going to play, you know, this is not going to go for the next 15, 20 seasons, you know. We're going to be here for 4 or 5 more probably, I'm guessing. And J.J. Watt, he's going to be a 90 overall player for me for the next 3 years. And I think that was like a big part of why I did that. So I think just kind of knowing that is a big part of, you know, building a team.
All right. And Finns, we'll go with you next.
I am not the best cap manager, so I really like building through the draft. I also tend to pick up teams, whether it's late in the season when I join like in primer or at the beginning that just have really shitty cap situations. So I end up always having to kind of trade those vets to kind of get out in front of those. Like in my other league with the Chiefs, like that cap situation was terrible. So I had to get rid of all of like Frank Clark contract was just garbage. So I had to try to get through that. So I have to build to the draft. I like to cut all that old talent. My 3-1 record here is a mirage. Those of you that know me will know that that's a true statement. So I usually pick in the front half of the draft most. So getting those young talents that you can mold from the get-go, like Bengals said there, like, you know, spending your coach XP in the right spots. Yeah, and you know, and for free agency, I obviously I use it, but I tend to use it for like punters, kickers, like to fill those like depth positions, like depth O lineman. Because I don't know what you guys feel, but I feel like on O line this version is just not important. I'm not spending money on any O lineman, and like I run pretty well. Like that's the one part of my game that I will say I do pretty well at. So I'm strictly a draft guy.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on the O-line. I don't have anybody on the interior O-line above like a 66. So,
and they're like hemming up Fletcher Cox and
yep, they do just as good if they're crappy or if they're overpaid. But so you said you were the Chiefs, and you're talking about cap space and cap strap. Did you ever even consider cutting Travis Kelce as the Chiefs?
Nope. I traded him actually to the Texans owner there for his star 23-year-old tight end, a first in that draft, and a first and second in the next draft. And that was 3 seasons in.
So I'm gonna give you a bonus point for not doing the dumbest move I've ever seen in a CFM. Whiskey, go ahead. So what are your take on this?
I'm gonna have to start by saying I messed up last year by letting Haskins go, and that really it really went downhill from there, and I messed up in free agency. And like Finn said a minute ago, you know, I was trying to put players on my offensive line that I didn't need, and so it has really decimated my cap space, and it didn't make me any better. So we got the number 1 pick, so we're going to try to build some off the draft, and maybe we're letting some players go, and we're just going to try to rebuild. It's definitely going to be a rebuilding year, but looking forward to it. Looking forward to finishing up these next three games, and looking forward to next season.
All right. So our last topic is going to be what teams are sleepers for next season in the primer, and we'll start with you, Ostrich.
Okay. I think one of the sleeper teams is definitely the Lions. He took over an 0-8 Lions team. They're not the best. They do have a really good superstar young receiver, but I played him I believe 2 weeks ago, and he gave me a decent game. We had a good game. It was pretty competitive, and he seems very solid. I mean, if he's able to utilize his free agency and build a good team, he'll be in competition for that NFC North, which is probably that's one of the better divisions, I would say. I mean, the Vikings and Packers seem to be strong, so that'll be an interesting division to watch next year. And in the AFC, I think the Bengals was the guy I was going to say, but he's 9-5. He's really turned them around. Like his first I believe he scored 60. He scored like over 50 points. I believe like 3 or 4 games that I've seen, so that's really impressive. But a guy that I think unexpected. Well, this guy was in the playoffs last year, but I'm gonna say the Colts will get back on track. I think he needs, if he's able to sign a quarterback this next off season. Behind that, I mean, he's got a really good running back, Jonathan Taylor. If he's able to pick up a quarterback this next off season, I think he'll be a team to watch out for. I mean, I actually had him and the Texans guy were two guys that I thought would be competing for this division early. He kind of fell off a little bit this year, but I think he'll be able to kind of rebound next year if he's able to get that quarterback. I know there's a few quarterbacks out there that are going to be available for trade, like Dwayne Haskins, I think, is a guy. I don't know if he might try and go after him or draft someone. He'll probably have a high pick. He'll probably be like top 10. I think he's 5 and 8 right now. He could be like, we'll see how it finishes, but I think he's a guy to watch out for next year.
All right, Whiskey, let's go with you.
I'm gonna go with Strauss. I think his confidence that he and like you said earlier, he takes it game by game, and that's why I think he's got the confidence to build his team up and be a force next year.
All right, short but sweet. And then we'll go with Finn's next.
So I've only played 4 games here, so this one was kind of tough for me. So I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here, and I'm going to go with someone. Bomber, you're probably not going to like my answer since you did like my Graham's answer earlier. But I'm going to say Trick. I played him, and I beat him, which is a rarity for me. He's another guy that gives me fits. But if he can ever figure out how to stop the run, because I gashed him with my 74 overall running back that I got that's filling in for Gurley. And he's got a rookie quarterback too, and rookie quarterbacks just tend to not play right for some reason, no matter their ratings.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be. I don't know his history in this league, if he's been competitive in the past, but I know what he's capable of. He was a contender in the league. I played with him before, so I know what he's capable of there. And in the AFC, I was gonna say Texans, but Mike tells me that guy is always in the playoffs, so I'm gonna switch and go with Bengals. Even though everyone else has said that. The numbers he's putting up with Ross, didn't he put up 333 in one game? That's just ungodly. So obviously his offense is one to be reckoned with. So I'm going to switch in mid answer here and go to the Bengals.
All right. Then only fitting that we finish with the Bengals. So what's your sleeper team for next season?
Yeah, my sleeper team, obviously I haven't got to play everybody or see everybody, but so far, I would have to say the Broncos. We had a really, really good game. His offense was, putting up a lot of points and kind of going through his team and looking at who he has. He has a young quarterback. Those receivers are fast. KJ Hamler's leading the way with them. And then they have like speed everywhere. He has 2 tight ends that are both like 90 speed. And then he has linebackers that are like above 90 speed, and he has a corner that's running a 98 speed. So I think he has and they're all super young. So I think I'm not sure what happened with some of his other games and how he got that record, but the Broncos would be the one I'd be looking out for. That offense was super explosive and could be hard to stop depending on what you got on defense.
All right. So usually on here we'll have one bonus question that you guys don't even know about before you come on here. This one might be kind of easy. It's a 2-part question, and it's going to be, what do you think your record would be in the SML, and can you beat Prime? And we'll start with you, Whiskey.
Well, Man, that's a tough one. Considering I'm like 0-13 right now. I've never played him, so I really couldn't say, man. I'm gonna say if I was on my P's and Q's, maybe 6-6, maybe 5-7, and I don't know. I don't think I gotta beat him.
All right, I'll give you a point anyway, but the correct answer is yes, I could beat him.
Okay.
Ostrich, what's your what do you think? What's your record, and can you beat Prime?
I think it definitely depends on the division, because like if you get in division, you know, like the NFC West with RD, Dump, and Meats, that's gonna be a division I feel like I might would struggle a little more in. But if I were to ever get in like a division, like I don't know, like the NFC South or even the NFC North, I think I could be like I don't know. I feel like I'm a consistent player. Like I'm a fairly consistent player. I feel like I could be around the 11-13 win mark, like 11 through 13. I don't think I'm on the same level as you or Dan or Prime. I mean, I think you're slightly better than Prime personally.
That's a bonus point.
I don't think I'm as good as Spaz either, but I'd say yeah, and I'd say I think if I played well enough, I think I could beat Prime.
All right, that's a bonus point as well. All right, we'll go with you, Straw Blacks.
Yeah, you know, you always have those games that you come in and things just don't go right. I seem to always get crazy fumbles. I've had probably more than most people would expect fumbles going into the end zone. So I give myself, you know, probably like a 13-3, 12-4. And yeah, I think I could beat Mike. And yeah, I mean, I think the way that I take it, you know, the approach that I take to the game, it's really, really hard to beat me multiple times because my play style, I really play to how, you know, my opponent plays. So I kind of, you know, learn how they play and work around that. And I really treat it as a chess match. So, you know, depending on who I'm playing, I think I could really hang with anybody.
And if that person's Prime?
Prime.
Can you beat Prime?
Oh, yeah, I could beat Prime.
Okay, bonus point for you as well. And Fins.
Embarrassingly enough, I'm very similar to Mike FML in my record. So if I were to go a full season in SML, I'd probably say I don't know what his record is normally, but I'm going to guess somewhere around 6-10, 5-11, maybe 8-8 if he got lucky. And could I beat Prime? Hell yeah. Any given Sunday, baby.
And that's another bonus point for you as well. All right, so that's going to do it for this week's episode. We've got Whiskey coming in at 22 points, Fins at 37, Ostrich at 38, and the Straw Blacks is our winner tonight with 40 points. So What we usually do, you have 30 seconds to rant about anything you want, Primer, SML, whatever you want. 30 seconds are all yours.
Oh, 30 seconds to rant about whatever I want. Okay, so, you know, the Straw Blacks are here. We are here to stay. We're ready. We love competition. We want to see the best week in and week out. We want to get the best from everybody. We want to learn how to play, and we want to just keep getting better. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the support with this community. It's been a lot of fun, and I just can't wait to keep playing and seeing what happens. So I'm excited, and we're looking to be in that Primer Super Bowl.
All right. So this has been our first episode with the Primer on First and Goal. Hopefully we'll get a couple more of these episodes in before this cycle's out. But appreciate you guys being on here. I think it was a pretty good show. Look forward to seeing you guys up in the SML. If nobody else has anything, then that's the end of this episode. Till next week.
Thanks for having us, man.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for listening to First and Goal. Be sure to check out Mad Bomber TV on Twitch and YouTube for the latest from the SML. And we'll see you next time on First and Goal.